What do we learn from the early marriage? I mean, obviously now you've gone through these abusive relationships, abusive boyfriend after abusive boyfriend, and now, of course, you start ultimately dating, Don. And was that a fairy tale at the beginning? Was there any red warnings looking back that you could point out to people, or was it a relationship that started with kind of the sweeping you off your feet as some do?
Well, I think that because of that background that I had, I think I was very susceptible to him because it had been very difficult for me, the series of very difficult relationships and not good ones. When I met him, he it did seem like he was a prince charming. He did seem like he was the knight in shining armor. Like he was it was like a dream because um just the way he just was so hyper focused on me. He told me he loved me that first night we met, and I don't know, it was like a dream. But looking back on it, the red what are the red flags? If a person tells you they love you the first night, to me that's a red flag. You know,
Ah,
right
yes.
away they're talking marriage. Like he was within a week or two he was talking about me moving back east with him. Like to me that's a red flag. Like I didn't see it at the time. I was really excited about it, but um things shouldn't be moving that quickly. And oh, the other thing, no friends. Like he didn't have any friends. He lived, how could it be that he's an entertainer with, so many people in the music business all around? He didn't have one friend in the music business. He didn't have any friends. Also, he was estranged from every friggin' family member. He My mother even, it was weird because I was looking through, my mother died recently and we were looking through the letters and everything that she had kept, and I found this note that she had written my sister, and she said in it that it was written before I married Don, that she thought that he was mentally ill because he was estranged from his nephew, and he was estranged from everybody. Like what normal person is estranged from everybody? But she never voiced that to me while she was living, and I started to think about that. Like I always thought she adored him and looked up to him and was really excited that I was with him. I think if more people would express reservations, that would be helpful. So there were all these things, but if I had the power and control wheel then, and I saw, you know, how they isolate you, how all that stuff, I would hope it would make a difference. But on the other hand, maybe not, because when you're hungry for love, you believe lies, right? When I was hungry for love. I was really, hungry for like excitement and all that stuff. And so even if I had known, maybe I would have stayed blind to it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a great observation. I mean, I think the acts of self-esteem, all of the whacks that your self-esteem had taken through these abusive relationships left you very, I think you used the term susceptible to him, and your self-esteem wound was so big, it starts in childhood and it continues through these abusive relationships. And so, you know, um, I think you had that low self-esteem, and were very susceptible to the control. So what lens you look at that through, I think hindsight obviously is perfect, but I think it's really important for people to understand, how at the time, it became the new normal for you because you were attached to your self-worth was attached to somebody else. So you do, in a way, um, you avoid looking at all the blind spots. You don't see them as blind spots. You just see what you want to see. When you say that again, when you're hungry for love, you'll believe lies. Is that what you
Oh, when
said?
you're hungry for lies, you eat you when you're hungry for lies, for love, you eat lies. There's
Oh,
something like that really resonated with me.
yeah,
The other
yeah.
thing that happened with Don, which was really interesting, and the other thing I would tell women, like maintain your independence at every that's the most important thing. So when I met him, I was a newspaper reporter in San Francisco. I had an apartment, nice apartment. I had a car, of course. I had a job, and but more than a job, I had a career. I was a newspaper reporter. I was very proud of that. That's all. I always wanted to do that, and I was winning awards, like state awards, for my writing. And so then when I met him, and as I said, he swept me off my feet, and right away he's talking about me moving back east with him. Like I I ended up. I remember it was hard for me to make that decision because I was I was working on something. I was achieving something. my career was important to me. My independence was important to me. So I did debate that. But in the end, I just love won out, and I just said, okay, I'll move back east with you. So this was in October. We met in August. So 2 months or something. So I sold my car. I gave up my apartment. I quit my job. The day I got back from having quit my job, last day of work, no car, no apartment, nothing. We're going to move back east the next day together. I saw his temper for the first time. And I remember, like, I couldn't believe it because it was so unlike the Don that I knew. Like, up until then, it had been just, writing me love notes. I'm going to treat you like a flower and a baby, which was a red flag in a way. Like, you don't want a man who's going to treat you like a baby. But at the time, I thought that was romantic. But it was just all like flowers and everything. And then all of a sudden, this temper, like he just like flipped out over nothing. But I remember, like, almost going into a state where I was just blocking it out. Like I said, no, this can't be. And then I was just like making excuses. Well, it's very stressful for him because, this is a big step that he's taking. And also I really was trapped, I felt, because I had told everybody that I was moving back east with this famous singer. Everyone was excited, a few people were excited for me, and I was embarking on this fantasy, and it was just like a fairy tale. And I didn't have anything. I didn't have a job. I had nothing. So that was where I felt I was trapped. I mean, at that moment I could have said, but all the benefit of the doubt was going to be there for him because of the circumstances at that point.
Yeah, you were I mean, we're just going to go back to when you're hungry for love, you eat lies. And, I think when I hear this, because, you could imagine a young couple with a very popular, celebrity singer and a young wife. And, we're going to make a decision to live our life this way. And couples do that all the time. They move together. They decide, one job can get replaced somewhere else and you can be a writer anywhere. And, they sit down and they talk about that. But what I hear is Patricia's life getting smaller and Don's life getting bigger.
Oh my God,
that
is so true. You nailed it. That's exactly it. That's the problem. Not only that, I didn't even mention one other thing, that I had all the stuff that I had been carrying around with me since I'd left home at 19 to work my way up in the newspaper industry. So I had all my newspaper clippings, I had my poetry, I had my writing, I had my photos, and I'd been carrying them around with me place to place as I moved around the state for these jobs. And so the day before, like I put everything into 2 boxes. So one box I'm going to keep and take back east with me. The other box, could be thrown out. So I came back from work and, the last day, and I was like, where is that? There was one box that I wanted to take back with me, all those things that define me up until that moment in my life. He said, they're in the dumpster. He threw it in the dumpster. And I said, what? And he's like, oh, I thought that was the garbage box. I never asked him to throw anything away. And it was purposeful. He erased me. And so at that moment, I didn't have a past. It was just him. And that defined the relationship. The relationship was, and you can relate, I'm sure, to what it was like in your home with your father. They're everything. Like, they're the whole world. Like, everything revolves around them. They're the sun god, sun king, right?